All right, I think we are live on the Down Beach Buzz podcast for 12/19/2024. That's December 19, 2024, with Paul Scollage. He's from rate.com. Need a mortgage? Got to refinance? Maybe you just need a rate quote or to reach out to somebody with some awesome financial knowledge. Reach out to Paul Scollage at rate.com. And we have a new theme song for our girl. We love her very much.
Her name is Sherry, super real estate pro. Sherry, super duper real. Talk to the stars. Her name is Sherry, super real estate.
There we go. Look at that.
Oh, I want to see your dance moves, Paul. Come on now. I know you got them.
I
I let them out last Tuesday.
Does that make you a little jealous when I have a theme song for Sherry? I could work on yours next.
No, it's fine. We can figure something out. I'll come in with like a little old school rap, like DMX or something. That'll be
You
good.
want more of a hip hop vibe for your rate.com?
It's right. Coming out of the dugout in the ninth inning. That's me.
All right, it's a big. Sherry's very popular. We spend all of our waking hours working on her marketing plan because that's just what we do. All right, so why don't we do this, Paul? Why don't we go with the thing that we normally do with mortgages? What's the best rate you can do for somebody 30-year fixed with the best possible credit? And did I think yesterday, Paul, was it Jerome Powell of the Fed just had some big news that it wasn't good news for the market, huh?
It wasn't, but it's crazy. I feel like a car salesman. I can give you a rate today. Within minutes, it changes. The validity that we have seen in this market over the last 2.5 years has been crazy. Yesterday, Fed Chair Powell spoke yesterday and had a very hawkish tone, which really set the markets in the opposite direction. They confirmed that we're going to have a rate cut for December, which is 0.25%. And the misconception is most consumers see that quarter cut and says, "Oh, this is great. This is going to impact my interest rate." Someone that I'm currently working with today that are going to be buying a house within the next 30 days are thinking their rate's going to go down. Their rate's going to go down. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. What that rate cut that we saw yesterday technically has already been embedded into what we're seeing today for rates. That rate cut will impact credit cards. It'll impact the Fed rate, but it doesn't impact what we see today in terms of interest rates. Long term, what Powell spoke about yesterday was having 2 cuts for next year, when the initial conversation a month ago was 4 to 5 potential cuts. So it really set things in a negative way. Interest rates have gone up since yesterday, since today. Interest rates are hovering around 6.875 to 7%. But I truly believe that at some point, spring, summer of next year, we will start to see rates settle down and be consistent, right? Maybe in the mid to low 6s or low 6s, but the inconsistency that we see today is it's wild. It really is. I mean, it's like a seesaw or a roller coaster. But I'm hoping things settle down. Nothing really goes on throughout the holidays. Probably the beginning of next year or during the January meeting, we'll start to see some updates. Nope, there we are.
There you go. And Sherry, how does what Paul just shared with us, how does that affect your business here in the Down Beach area when you buy and sell real estate?
You always ask me this. It's not really, except there are a lot of people that use their home equity lines of credit for their secondary home, right? And the rates that Paul's seeing on mortgages will, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, those are the home equity line of credits, right? Like those are the ones that are really fluctuating with these. So they're in the 6 and 7% area right now. Is that right, Paul?
Well, so home equity rates are obviously on the rise right now, and they can be at a high point because people are trying to take out equity in their house, whether they're using it for home improvements, whether using it for to merge debt together. There's what's called a blended rate, which is pretty interesting. So people hear my rate and I say, hey, I'm at 6.5 or 6.875 for a cash out refinance. But what you look at then is you look at your blended rate, meaning what is your interest rate on your house? What is your interest rate on your car? What is your interest rate on credit cards? I mean, credit card interest rates are probably 18, 19%. So what people like to do in some cases is they'll do what's called a blended rate, where they'll take cash out of their house, whether it's a 15-year term, whether it's a 20-year term, and reduce their overall debt, but paying off their credit card, paying off their car payments, paying off overall debt, paying off student loans for their kids. So that's what's called your blended interest rate. You might have an interest rate of 3.5% on your house today, but then look at your credit card, look at your car, look at your student loan, look at all of the other debt. So when people say to me, your rates are high, I'm like, look at your blended interest rate when you come to refinancing. So I have done more cash out refinances over the last 60 days than I've done in a while, because I discussed with people about their blended interest rates. So again, I think rates eventually will see some improvement, but right now for the short future, rates are going to be in this mid to upper 6%.
So even though Sherry says it doesn't affect her business day to day that much in the Down Beach area, Margate, Ventnor, Longport, it's because her buyers already have the cash. They probably already dealt with a guy like you to gain access to that cash. Is that why this is not a everyday occurrence for Down Beach sellers and buyers or realtors?
So a lot of people that are coming into our markets, Ventnor, Margate, Brigantine, Sea Isle, Ocean City, are looking at second homes, and that age bracket, a lot of people have a lot of equity in their primary residence. So instead of trying to get a mortgage on a second home, they have the ability to take out the cash from their primary residence, which is a great opportunity, where now they're maybe a cash offer down at the shore, and they're not competing against other borrowers. It's wild. I think every agent is looking at cash offers, talking to their seller about it, and everyone wants to see cash. But at the end of the day, whether it's a mortgage or cash, if you have the ability to get a higher offer price, a mortgage is just as fine. I mean, everyone's like cash, but I try to explain that you can close a mortgage in 15 days. I mean, the industry has completely changed. Everything is done fast. Speed and efficiency is the future. So getting stuff done in 15 days for a purchase is highly likely. I mean, back in the early 2000s, the average closing was probably 45 or 60 days. That does not exist. So someone comes into the cash offer settling in 30 days, we can do a mortgage and settle in 15 days. The seller might get more from an offer with a mortgage versus a cash offer. So, don't be afraid if you're listing your house to look at mortgage offers versus cash offers.
I have a question, because obviously the one thing the reason why people don't like the mortgage when the market was like going up exponentially, you couldn't get the appraisals to match the price. So that was their fear. There's not comps and it won't appraise. So what are you seeing now with the appraisals, Paul?
Easy fix. Easy fix. If you're listing a property, Sherry, you tell that buyer, you have to waive everything. Waive your mortgage contingency, waive your appraisal contingency. Show me that you have the cash to cover any shortfall in the appraisal. And that's what my buyers are doing in PA. They're going in, waiving their mortgage contingency, waiving everything. But they're putting an addendum saying that my buyer has the ability to get a mortgage if they choose to. So now that buyer, if for some reason the appraisal comes in short or they lose their job, they have to buy the house in cash. So that's one of the things that worked in our market. But yes, that's the fear of that. If they don't waive that and they do an appraisal and there's a shortage, we want to protect our seller. And that's where sometimes the cash offer is highly favorable.
Just the other day, as I was walking past this house in Lower Chelsea, Atlantic City. First off, Lower Chelsea is awesome. Sometimes it gets it's in the shade of Atlantic City, which doesn't often get great press. But Lower Chelsea is so spectacular. There's a home, and I walk by it every day on the boardwalk. All of a sudden, I'm watching them gut this 100-year home, because normally down the shore, you see people just knocking stuff down and building a McMansion with no setback, the whole nine. But there are people out there buying basically almost like historic homes, and they're trying to preserve the beauty of Atlantic City the way it was 100 years ago. So I saw this guy. I was having a bagel and a schmear last week, and somebody showed me on their phone that there was this guy on social media, Tim T Properties, and he's buying houses cash, flipping them, building them out, fixing them up. And this goes with what you guys are talking about right now, the cash thing and they move around real fast. Watch this real quick, just 3 minutes, and then I'm going to have Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP and Paul Scollage of Rate.com give me their opinions and their thoughts on this video, which I'm just blown away by. Here we go.
Welcome to Atlantic City Beaches. This is my neighbor's house. It's pretty crazy that I'm able to afford to purchase a house, beach block, that is pretty massive. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, 3,500 square foot Victorian. I mean, this house was built a long time ago. It is built so good. When you take down the plaster and you see what's behind it, this house was built properly. It's pretty incredible. So we weren't going to gut the house to the studs. We were going to leave up the plaster because of the detail, the trim work, the peaks, the eaves. Everything was beautiful in this house. But after really looking at the electric, the HVAC, I wanted a more modern house. So thank God that we did demo, because behind the walls, there's knob and tube. And the knob and tube has been sparking for years. And the wood actually caught fire behind the walls. It could have happened while the old people lived here. It could have happened while I lived here. But when you see fire in the wall, it's not good. When people consider Atlantic City, they consider that down there, all the casinos and kind of the riffraff. There's this stigma. This is the Atlantic City beach. I lived in Ocean City for 5 years. This is just as pretty as the Ocean City beach. The difference is I'm able to get a beach block house for under $1 million. I negotiated that house under contract the day that they agreed to the price. That house was on the market for 1.7. Then they dropped it to 1.5. I got them to 1.3. The day we were going to sign contracts, this hit the market for 1.3. I got this house for $900,000. They dropped all the money in one day because I was closing fast cash. This house was a mess. Imagine a home inspector coming in here with the knob and tube, the plumbing, the main plumbing crack in these old houses. All that cast iron cracks going all the way down. But that's what you get in these old houses. I mean, how old's this house? I forget.
100 years old?
Over that.
1920?
I'm bringing Chuck on basically because this is what Chuck does. I mean, the big projects, Chuck comes in. He knows how to manage these big old houses. He does it right. Timeline, dude. What are you thinking timeline?
Because of the size, we're at 90 days. 3 to 4 months. Complete. Move in ready.
You think that? I was thinking longer than that, actually.
I mean, listen, we're fast.
So,
We're
and
fast.
Sherry,
I got to tell you,
listen, Sherry has a lot of experience in Lower Chelsea. Go ahead, Sherry.
Well, not only do I have a lot of experience in Lower Chelsea, Zach and I used to buy homes.
Who's Zach?
Zach, my husband. We used to buy homes and we would do fix and flips. I fix them up, not tear them down. Like, do what this guy is doing, maintaining the beauty and the integrity of the home.
Welcome to Atlantic City Beaches.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
But bringing it up to current standards. And, as an environmentalist, like, the fact that they are preserving a lot of it, yes, they have to upgrade. They have to get rid of that electrical and plumbing and tear down those walls. Like, I wish more builders would do this. The reason they don't do it is because this takes thought and care. And it's a special builder that will do rehab. So many builders will not touch a rehab. They want to tear down and build their same plan again and again and again and again. And I love that he is doing this. This is fantastic. And he's right. Like, this charm and like the bones of this home, the wood that they use, the mortar, like, this house is solid, except yes, it had some safety issues. So I'm all in for this. And Lower Chelsea, beautiful area, gorgeous homes. They all look different. I just want to say something right now. Like, when you go to the area in Margate, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. On Ventnor Avenue, where all the big old homes are.
The Parkway.
The Parkway. Thank you. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. The Parkway area. They just tore down a beautiful old home there. There are homes that they are tearing down on the Parkway area, which makes me so sad. Like, can't a builder like Tim T, well, because he couldn't get it at the price he wanted, come in and renovate them and not tear them down to the ground and build this big modern home. Now, I will say some of the newer homes they're building there, they are trying to maintain some character, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. And they don't have the slate roofs and everything. So sorry, I monopolize that, but I just love what this guy is doing. And I wish there were more builders that were doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Paul. So he's not pulling from under his mattress for that cash. He's doing something to dig up that 900K. And if you notice, guys, that block in Lower Chelsea had 2 houses for sale. You saw how fast, within 2 days, numbers kept on going down and down and down. Then boom, he just, I don't want to say lowball, but 900K sounds like
lowball.
And he had the background to fix anything he found. So probably with no contingencies. Is that a guess?
Yeah. Did he buy both of them?
No, but he was about to buy the corner property, which is on the market for quite some time. But like I said, Sherry, and of course, I have a fair amount of experience living around here. But Lower Chelsea is, it's the next it area. Brigantine for a long time was the area to buy into. Ventnor was. Lower Chelsea is next, is my gut, because all the other markets I just mentioned might have too many investors building, and building.
Yeah, so he bought as is. He obviously he doesn't really care about a home inspection, nor will an offer at $900,000 when it was listed at 1.3 take a home inspection. So it's quick cash. He probably does one of 2 things. One is he establishes a business line of credit on what he has, or he gets a hard money loan. It's a short-term loan. You mentioned there 4 to 5 months, but typically a hard money loan, you can borrow money without paying anything back. It's interest only, where you have 1 year without making payments. Some of the guys will extend it to 2 years. You know, it's a hefty loan, but in his eyes, you know, he's paying $900,000. Who knows what he's putting into it? What's the return? What's the out? What's that block do when the house is decked out? I mean, it's pretty remarkable to buy a house on the beach for $900,000. You know,
and I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know much about this guy.
Sorry.
I don't know much. We're talking over. Go Paul. This
I'm sorry. Take that house and put it in Margate, or put it in Ventnor. What? I mean, Cher, what are you looking at? 3-4 million?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. You know, that size, because that's a big, wide
big lot.
It looks like a big lot. I mean, yeah, definitely like 3-4 million beach block.
It's a beautiful, beautiful house. It really is. And I'm with Sherry. It's good that he saved it, because we saw the inside was spectacular, totally redone for the most part. But once he started to dig a little deeper, he realized that there was outdated plumbing, cracking iron pipes, and then, of course, sparking with the old-fashioned, back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the knob and tube electrical, which sounds kind of crazy, but that was the standard at that time, right?
Yeah, the only thing I would comment, though, and I get it, he was gutting the house. I hope that he did a test for an oil tank. Now, this house might have had a basement with the tank, you know, because some of these older homes had basements. But I mean, that would be my only thing. Yes, it's great you're going to gut the house, but you should always do an environmental test, especially on these older homes. So hopefully he did that, or he didn't need to do it because there was a basement that had a tank and it wasn't underground.
Now you see the house on the right-hand side. If you see me scrolling over it, you notice this one, the white house next to this light blue house. If I'm not mistaken, this was the house he was ready to close on. And as he was ready to hand over the money, the house on the left became available at 1.3 mil, but then he got it for 900. Talk about great opportunities, Paul. It's hard to, this story. That's why when I was having my bagel and a schmear with lox the other day, and I overlooked somebody else on their phone showing this guy, Tim T, I go, what the hell is that? That's awesome, man. That's such a dramatic play on what's available in the Lower Chelsea part of Atlantic City. And as you can probably tell, Marty Small, the mayor of Atlantic City, doesn't spend much time down here. So I think there's an upside to that.
The other thing, well, we could talk about Marty Small, because I was at the AC council meeting last night. What a meeting that was. But anyway, as a realtor, I'm also thinking, though, how did he get out of his contract for the other property? Who was protecting that seller? Because usually you can't get out of your contract too easily without losing some down money. So maybe there wasn't even a realtor involved. Don't know, but that's
we don't
my
know.
other
Yeah.
thought.
But it was,
He might have said, I got $5,000 on the hook. That's all I'm going to lose. I'm going to make it 5 times over on the other house and walk, you know?
yeah.
He might have. I just, it's not that easy to get out of a deal
You're
when
right.
you're so close to
Right.
closing. So anyway, my 2 thoughts.
Yeah, you were so compelling that Roz from Jamaican Me Crazy checked in and gave us a thumbs up. So say hi to Roz.
Hey, Roz, you're making me crazy.
There you go. There's some free advertising for you,
There you
Roz.
go.
Free advertising. But you know what that's all about, right?
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to rock. I got another call here, but thank you as always for everything. All right.
All right, Paul. Very good. Paul Scollage
Hi,
from
Paul.
rate.com.
Hey,
Go to
guys.
rate.com and Paul can hook you up with anything financial, with homes, real estate, buy, get a quote, whatever you need. Paul Scollage from rate.com.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks.
Peace
You
out.
too, Paul.
All right, there you go. Very exciting, Cher.
Well, anyway,
I think he was jealous. Did you notice a twinge of jealousy?
who? What?
Paul.
Wait.
Her name is Sherry, super real estate pro Sherry. Sherry, super duper realtor to the stars.
There's so many good Sherry songs, like Frankie Valley and
Cher, when
Oh
that's
Sherry.
playing, I'm
Like
not listening to you. Hold on, Cher. I shut you down when that song's playing.
I'm saying, there's so many good Sherry songs, but I guess you can't use them because of copyright.
Do you know what that was? I wrote that song for you personally. Because it's AI. Listen, it's AI, artificial intelligence, no big deal.
Her name is Sherry, super real estate pro Sherry. Sherry, super duper realtor to the stars.
I mean, who else would write a song about the super duper realtor to the stars?
Super duper.
Thank you
Woo.
I put all that time into it to create a customized song. How many realtors have a custom jingle about their brand, their marketing? Anybody?
Probably a few, but not too many.
But you don't know of many. And now you have plenty of them where they're holding their pet, or they're wearing hats, or they're doing something kind of goofy. But I wrote a song for you, and that's the beauty of Down Beach Buzz. We go above and we go beyond. And so what did you learn? Speaking of AI, artificial intelligence, there was a big giant shindig conference. I guess Triple Play is what it's called. And what I asked you a few minutes ago before we got on the podcast, what did you learn at the 3-day event for realtors and people in that industry? What's the takeaway? And the first thing you said was AI, right?
Yeah, there were a lot of sessions on AI and how to use AI to automate your business, like any other business, try to get more efficient, how we do stuff, and trying to get more on social media and help with writing content and different types of things. But, when you use AI or not, you still have to be mindful of fair housing laws, and you still have to have a human look over stuff. And I think people forget about that. But yeah, that was a big push in the it's called Triple Play Conference. It's always the beginning of December. It's 3 states that get their continuing education: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I happen to be licensed in all 3. So I sit in one class and I get my continuing education for all 3, which is really awesome. But yeah, it's a great conference. Paul's group, rate.com, they actually didn't have a booth there, but they have a great party. And I said to him, I'm like, why don't you have a booth here? He goes, we don't need it. We have our party. He's actually right.
I was going to ask you about that. There's alcohol involved in this event as well, right?
Alcohol, hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, they have a great band. I mean, it's really the music I love.
Okay,
Anyway.
but did the realtors learn anything? Okay, you don't have to answer that question. So
I don't know what they learned.
They go for it. I'm not saying nothing. So what do you want to talk about, Cher? The master plan, the revals that are coming for all these shore towns? I'm going to give you an option. Do you want to talk about an upcoming master plan in Ventnor, Margate, Brigantine, whatever, or the upcoming reval, which should happen every 5 years? When will the county force these revals? I'm telling you, there's a lot of murky areas out there. Or do you want to talk about the zoning officer in Margate? He wants to have Mr. Baglivo, a big developer in town, to relocate his Margate Gardens tenants because maybe they weren't properly inspected. I'll give you a choice. What should we talk about first?
Well, since you have it right up on the screen, we can talk about the Baglivo's thing. Most people know, or I hope they know, that John Scott Abbott, our solicitor, Margate hired a third-party attorney to fight this, who was more experienced in this, and there were papers filed in court to
give us a background. Give us a quick executive summary of what this issue is all about.
Executive summary: property got approved for 6 units. You know, we need to have some control over how many units in an area, parking, things like. Got approved for 6 units. Word hit the streets that there were 12 units. When he built the 6 units, Baglivo, he put like walls up and there's extra kitchens and 12 mailboxes, but he kept on saying, no, it's only 6 units. Anyway, the neighbors were upset. There's parking issue and became a whole big thing. And now finally, hopefully the city's going to do something about it. You know, like everything, we always talk about enforcement. It's one thing to have rules in place, but you have to enforce them. If you don't enforce them, no one's going to care about the rules. And this was a perfect example. There was rules and guidelines in place, but they were ignored.
Do you know who I see as the whistleblower in all this?
Well, the neighbors were the whistleblowers.
But what about inside City Hall of Margate? Who do you think was the best whistleblower?
Oh, that I don't. I just know the neighbors were.
It would be Roger McLarnon. He was the one. He's the one his name is on all these complaints. So if you go to DownbeachBUZZ.com, we just posted this. The story is called "The Zoning Officer Wants Baglivo to Relocate Margate Gardens Tenants." Now, this wasn't information that was made public from the city or the mayor. I had to go dig around into these documents, these legal documents, and I was floored. Because these were just posted a day or two ago. This has got to really be pretty crazy, because there's a big meeting tonight at 5:00, Margate Old City Hall across from the Wawa. But if you're being encouraged by the mayor, he wants you to come in for 2 reasons. Number one, do not, you got public comment, one more public comment before the deal closes with the contaminated gas station. And then the second thing that kind of popped up, that everyone's showing up and they're encouraged to show up for public comment, is how do you deal with enforcement of zoning and construction? Mr. Galantino, why is he only a part-timer now? What happened there? They got to come clean. And then Mr. McLarnon. So that's why we think he's the whistleblower. But we did update all the legal documents that we found. It's crazy. We don't have a lot of time to read everything, but we encourage you to get up on Down Beach Buzz, because you're going to see affidavits from let me scroll down here, from the tax assessor for the city of Margate, Mr. James Mangum, and then also Dino Cavalieri. He's what is he? He's a construction code.
I'll tell you who Dino is.
Well, let me finish the description of him. He's the acting construction code official for the city of Margate. Go ahead, Cher.
Yeah, so he's in Ventnor also. I think we have so he's also working part-time in Margate. But he's also active in Ventnor. Just to say, he knows both towns really well. Probably Ventnor better than Margate at this point, but he'll get there.
So these are documents. So I actually try to summarize what I found in the documents, and you'll see here all the PDFs. So the first one you'll see is the affidavit of Roger McLarnon, the Margate zoning official. This is all official. This is stuff that's already filed with the courts. And then the next one we have here next is the affidavit of Dino Cavalieri, the Margate construction code official that Sherry says also works in Ventnor, which is very common, a shared service, if you will. I was surprised to see that the Margate tax assessor, James Mangan, he had to make a statement and sign off on it. You can't lie. You can go to jail if you misrepresent what you know as a fact. The order to show cause, civil action complaint. And I'm telling you, I could not believe it. But I think that courtroom, that chambers tonight at Margate City Hall is going to be packed, not just for the gas station, but this is proof that Margate and all these shore towns, quite frankly, have so much construction going on. They can't keep track of everything. And Sherry, you mentioned the enforcement, the issue, right?
Huge issue. I mean, we introduced our ordinance for construction pollution October last year, October 2023. And I'm still seeing enforcement issues. So actually, Steve Giesecke, the chair of our Margate Green team, and myself have requested a meeting with Maury. Maury's supposedly going to help, and the business administrator of Margate. So we're going to meet in the beginning of the year to really talk about enforcement. It's great to have these rules and laws and zoning, restrictions in place, but you have to enforce it. So you really need to think about that part of it. And again, we're going to have this meeting to really brainstorm about enforcement on just construction sites in the city, keeping them clean, keeping the pollution down.
So getting back to tonight's meeting. So today is December 19, 2024. And there's a huge meeting starting at 5 o'clock tonight. And the mayor is encouraging everybody. This is your last shot. There's a big decision being made tonight. Not sure exactly what it is, but you could guess maybe prior to the actual official closing on that gas station, you might have a public comment, maybe some questions, because there's been a lot of murky goings on in regards to the Taylor's gas station that the city is going to buy for at least $3 million in costs, and whether or not they can clean it properly, whether or not they can monetize it, whether the city even needs a parking lot near there at that part of town, right around the corner from the hardware store that the mayor owns. But if you go back, and you got to ask yourself, actually, I'm asking everybody, why did Scott Abbott, the solicitor for Margate, why did he have to reach out to a Ocean City attorney and say, here, you handle this, go after Baglivo for me? I can never remember exactly why Mr. Abbott had to call out to a third party to deal with this thing with the developer. So let's go back to April of 2024. Because remember, Scott is now like, well, I don't know, maybe, but listen to what Scott Abbott is saying in April 19, 2024 in regards to the controversial Baglivo apartment complex. Scott believes there's only six units, but now there's so much proof that there's 12. So what gives? So let's listen to it just briefly here.
Mayor Collins.
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Here.
Commissioner Horn.
Here.
Move forward with our department head report. Scott?
Meetings today. Let's go over the one that we've had a citizen most upset about with the Baglivo project at Ventnor and Coolidge Avenue. If you would, I have Mr. Eric Goldstein here. Roger, Jimmy, and I met with the developers of that project, and I think we have a resolution we're trying to make. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet, and I think if we could, maybe we can get Mr. Goldstein to talk to us for a minute of this workshop session. I think it's appropriate. We'll let everybody know what's going on and how we're straightening out some of these issues.
Sure. Thanks.
Mr. Goldstein, if you would, as per our conversation, he did meet with us and met with the developer. We reviewed all the plans. We'll let him
Thank you,
take
Mr.
over.
Abbott, and thank you for allowing me to show up tonight. I know there's been some dispute between perhaps a neighbor or neighbors and Mr. Baglivo as the developer of the property. Mr. Baglivo, as a responsible corporate citizen, was desirous to meet, wanted to discuss with the neighbor whatever he could do to hopefully alleviate those concerns. I do believe, Mr. Abbott, perhaps I'm wrong, that this is really not a matter for the city. It's more between two private property owners, unless the city feels otherwise. But
Well, there were allegations made that we wanted to address. I said to you I would investigate it, and I have investigated it. I've seen the leases. I've seen the licensing certificates that we have. I met with our zoning officer and our building inspector as well. I've also inspected the property. It's 6 residential units. It's not 12. They are all occupied, correct? They're all
They are.
occupied. The intent of the developer is to condo those.
All right, enough. Jeez. Hold on a second, Cher. 1 second. Just one moment, please.
It's raining bullshit tonight. It's raining bullshit tonight. So go outside and open wide. It's raining bullshit tonight.
There you go. Hold on. Let me turn your mic on there. Sure. Sorry. There we go. That's a good theme, isn't it? That's a nice jingle whenever I smell that.
Did you make up that song too, or did you find that somewhere?
Oh, you mean this one?
It's raining bullshit tonight. It's raining bullshit tonight.
No, that was from somebody else, but I thought it was apropos whenever I hear something kind of nutty. But you heard Mr. Let me bring us up a little bit here. Where are we? But when you hear Mr. Abbott say definitively there's only 666, I can't believe it. So Mr. Abbott is not happy that we published and we posted all those court documents where his coworkers inside City Hall are saying something totally different. But tonight at 5 o'clock, December 19, 2024, we encourage you, the mayor encourages you to get some public comment in tonight. Of course, if you're a second homeowner in Florida or in Philly, you're not down here, 75% of you are second homeowners, not in Margate. At this point in time, it's still prohibited. It's still blocked, these live Zoom videos. The mayor does not want this to happen, even though other towns, one by one, are turning on the cameras. You can see why they don't want the Zoom thing going. I think our good friend Lana, Sherry, will be there tonight.
I hope so. I will check. I am going to be there tonight. Listen, Mayor Collins told me the reason they don't have the Zoom is because they don't have an IT person. And I would give them a little slack on that. You do need a good IT person to handle this. Like when you look at Atlantic City, their CIO, the chief information officer, is the one monitoring the Zoom call, even though it's still really crappy quality, by the way, in Atlantic City. But you do need a technical person to manage this. So maybe the question is, when are you getting someone, an IT person, who can actually do the Zoom? Maybe that's the question.
Well, let me ask you, are you good at doing Zoom meetings on your own in your office?
I am.
Okay. Okay, maybe he can hire you because it sounds like you are capable of turning on and paying for Zoom. That's just me, man. I don't know. What the hell am I talking about?
Like it shouldn't be this complicated. Like at this day and age, it should be pretty easy. Okay.
Listen.
Point well made. Okay. I always try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I know. Listen, we want to, but after I just played that audio from April, it's got to be, it should make listen, I have nothing against him personally, other than, in this day and age, this digital age where everything's digitally recorded, he says one thing in April, and now his own coworkers are contradicting all that. And I had to go dig up these legal documents. The city didn't provide them to me. The newspapers like the Press of Atlantic City or my good friend Nanette, she didn't cover that, but I bet she will, and good for her. But,
she comes to the meetings, by the way. She sits there.
That's good. That's good for her to waste her time sitting there when she should be sitting at home watching a live video of it and then transcribing it. But listen, would I like to be sitting in a pew for 4 or 5 hours listening to mostly nonsense? No, that's why people don't go. But being there live it's so silly that people go there live, even though it kind of is interesting. A majority of the people don't live here full time, so they don't have the ability to be here live. So
do you know what Atlantic City has done to people that have tried to join their live Zoom meetings? They have blocked them.
Yeah, well, but at times I've certainly seen many people get on. So and the Atlantic City School Board, they block everything. So the point is, it's easy. Just look at Stone Harbor, look at Atlantic County. So, but you make a good point. He's always going to say he's working on it, but I just think tonight's a big night, and if you can attend in person, great. Or you can just reach out.
I will be there.
But you're going to bring up something else. You're going to bring up environmental and wind stuff, right?
No, I don't plan to. I honestly, sometimes I go just to listen, and I always say, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get up and say something because of what other people say. Like, that's why, yeah, you feel the energy of the room, and then you feel like, wow, maybe I should say something. Like I did comment on that gas station a couple of months ago when I was at the meeting, but I wasn't planning to comment. I just couldn't help myself.
So Lana Alexander says, hey, Sherry, see you tonight.
There she is. Lana.
And
right.
also our good friend Mitch Tannenhill, he's also checking in.
Oh, I want Mitch. Mitch, I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go together. Are we going together?
Yeah, Lana,
Oh.
Lana, I need you to encourage Sherry to break out the heavy-handed velvet fist. I want her to get back to her hedgehog or her bulldog phase when she gets angry and she doesn't let anybody stop her, because she comes off as sweet and kind, but then she is not tough enough. But whatever you can do, Lana, okay?
All right. Well, Mitch, I'm going to come get you tonight, 4:45.
Now, what is Mitch up to? He's always wheeling and dealing, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, he's one of my real estate colleagues, and he and Mark Arbite are a team, and they're an awesome team.
And what do they think? Have you talked to them? Ask them tonight. Oh, here is Mitch. Hey, Mitch, there's I think he's now with the bearded guy, Mark
No,
Arbite.
that's Mark Arbite. What do you mean now? It's been forever.
I didn't know. I haven't seen him in a long time. I have not seen him in a long time. But guys, all the realtors that are checking this out, what do you think?
Speak up. We need to speak up.
I what do you think about the upcoming master plan and the pending reval? Is that a good thing, bad thing? I think people are scared about it. Certainly Ventnor is, because some of these prices have gotten pretty heady, right? And the county of Atlantic County, they're the ones that say, I want you to do a reval and an updated master plan. But for some reason, Margate specifically gets an awful lot of delays. They always require or ask for a delay from the county, and the county says, okay, what do you think, Mitch? Sherry, should we do a reval now or kick it off and kick the can down the road for a while?
Look, everyone's always afraid of a reval because that usually means your taxes are going up. Okay. Everyone is always afraid. Question is, with so many properties with such a higher value, like what are they going to do with all that money once they get it? Right. So you're going to do a reval and then you're going to have all this extra money. Well, then what? Maybe they should start paying us green team people instead of us being volunteers. They should do some of that with the money.
Sherry, can you read that, please?
Yo, cuz. Who is this? Tommy.
It's Tommy Tagliucci. Come on. Yo,
They
guys.
don't want a live meeting because they want to hide behind the scenes, handouts, etc. going on. Who can't see that? Backdoor handshakes. Over here, like no tomorrow. Sad. Margate deserves better. My mother
Cougine.
can
He was saying Margate deserves better cougine.
Cougine. Oh, sorry. I got to get my Italian going.
So read
my
the
mother
last.
can do it. My mother can run a Zoom meeting.
There you go. That's
All right,
Tommy
Tommy.
Tagliucci. And I wouldn't mess with somebody with that many vowels in their name. You know?
I bet you he could
but that's what we got to do. We got to take more questions and comments now that we're getting more comfortable with this streaming thing. And do you know that we're like one of the biggest podcasts along the South Jersey Shore? Other people are doing it, but they're not doing it as well as we are, I think. I don't mean to be too cocky about it, but I do know that there's another Ventnor podcast. That's Car Edge. They do it out of Ventnor, and that they have a killer show, but it's focused on the real estate, but the automotive industry. So I always would talk to the guys from Car Edge, and I would say, you know what? Whatever you guys are doing with the automotive industry, Sherry and I and Paul Scollage, we're doing it with the local real estate industry here along the shore. Hey, might as well steal from the best, you know?
Well, you know, there's a lot of realtors that do the short, quick, you know, walking down the street, showing a house, and there's a lot of value to that. And I really should be doing more of that. But what we're doing is a new segment. And first of all, your DownbeachBUZZ is phenomenal. And how many readers do you have? 40,000 like subscribers?
It gets up there.
It gets up there, right? So obviously there's really, really good content that people like, and you do a lot of digging, which is helpful. And we just try to highlight things. I try to stay out of trouble. You're always trying to pull me into something controversial.
Yeah, but I kind of separate it out. You know, I kind of don't want to get you beat up or anything. And
thank you, because I still have to sell properties. for a living.
But listen, it's tough to talk about some of these awkward topics, but over time, as you can see, we have audio, we have all the different online tools where we save all these documents, and you see sometimes that our leaders are not necessarily as accurate as we would like them to be. And I don't want to beat up on Scott Abbott, but my gosh, just a few months ago, he said, nope, there's 6 there. There's 6. Come on, John. What am I supposed to say?
They've stepped up. Listen, they've stepped up. They got the help they need. And look, I just want to say something in Scott's defense also, because I was actually talking to another attorney about this. Just because you're an attorney doesn't mean you're well-versed in every type of law. Right? Scott Abbott has his area of expertise. He's really fantastic with wetlands issues and the streams that run underground. He has all the old map. He has his area of expertise. This is more of a landlord-tenant thing, even though he's a real estate attorney. This is this is different. So he knew enough, the city knew enough to bring in, his experts. And thank goodness they did, that he knew that this wasn't his area, and he brought in, or the city brought in an expert from Ocean City who does have this expertise. So, you just got to keep that in mind. Now, in terms of environmental law, I feel like the city should bring in an expert with the gas station, because that is another area of expertise that you need to be well-versed. So we'll see what they do with that. Maybe they will bring in someone if they're negotiating. I just want to say one thing about the gas station. I do think the city needs more open space and more land that's not developed. But why they didn't buy other properties, like even the food truck, or there's other properties, I don't know. We do need some more lots. Why this one is a mystery to me. Don't know.
Do you think John Scott Abbott, the solicitor of Margate, and Mayor Collins there in this graphic, you think they're happy with the way I portray them?
I would say no if I was a betting lady, but I don't bet.
But do you think the press of Atlantic City would run that graphic?
They don't do your funky little graphics. They have more boring stuff. Yeah,
that's a good way of describing it. Boring, which means nobody reads it, man. And I mean,
I didn't say nobody reads it. It's just more straight. You mean more
straight? You mean like heterosexual?
No, I don't speak in those terms. I'm not talking about any sexual orientation right now. I am speaking about more traditional. Maybe I'll say that. More traditional type of approach to news.
Okay.
I mean, you got this whole AI thing going on now, and your fire glasses, and
it's experimentation, because even the Realtors Association and the conference you went to, they encourage you guys to start to play with and learn about AI. But if you rely on it or you utilize it, it comes off funky. You can actually smell AI. You always know there's something weird with that AI, right?
Totally. Yeah. Even when they have a person talking and they have your manner, it's just the way they talk. I don't know. I mean, maybe it will evolve to seem more lifelike, but
I think the best thing what I use it for is I write a whole bunch of crap and I get tired of looking at it. I go, hey, please cut this down to 350 words and clean up the grammar. And it does a pretty good job with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll always write a document, but then I'll have AI maybe tighten it up, or they call it polish. The AI world, Gemini calls it, would you like me to polish this for you? Okay. What is this with this man and the drone and the dye and the swimming pool? And I want to know what swimming pool that was.
I'm going to show you this. This is actually what scared me the most, because you don't need real human beings to do a story. But this is AI. This is a fake male, a fake female. Basically, I fed them DownbeachBUZZ, and they decided to put this podcast together.
Contaminated land, maybe a shady deal, and taxpayers on the hook for it all. Former gas station, and the DownbeachBUZZ comment section is blowing up about it.
Environmental worries, taxpayer funds, you know how the city operates. There's even this whole possible conflict of interest thing with the mayor.
We know that Margate is set to buy the Liberty gas station, and the purchase date is December 18th.
Everyone knows it's contaminated. And what's really weird is that the city solicitor says they have a copy of the environmental report, but it hasn't been made public.
Well, that's not shady at all, is it?
Right. And then you have the engineer that the city hired. They're saying the report is too complicated to explain.
Oh, come on.
So I really wouldn't want to kind of freestyle on that. It's a very detailed report.
But it's important to us.
Sure, other than to say that it was a very thorough analysis. There really were no major items of areas of concern that came up.
So that's AI mixed in with real audio clips of Ed Dennis, the engineer of the city of Margate, and it's powerful. It takes all this work and but I don't think I would utilize those fake voices that often, but I certainly wanted to see what it sounded like. And I go, holy crap, that's not too shabby for version, 0.1.
Yep. All right. Well, I got to get ready if I'm going to be going to this meeting tonight. I got to get my work done today to be.
And what are you
out there.
working on? What do you, when you get up on public comment, what are you going to focus on? Lana, keep her focused. Have her be a bulldog. Don't let her get soft.
Yet. I'm not sure yet.
All of a sudden you start blinking your eyes. You're all sweet to all the people up on the dais because they love you and you love them. And I'm just thinking, oh, will you take out the claws? Will you, Lilienfeld?
Claws. No, okay. I don't know yet, but hopefully it will be a packed house, even though it's December. And like you said, a lot of people might be down in Florida. I'm glad Lana's not down in Florida yet. So that's good to know.
Well, maybe
Lana,
because
please ask them again about the Zoom calls. It's December already.
Okay, sure. Could you volunteer your services because you're a expert at Zoom? Maybe you can just volunteer to the mayor. I think you should because obviously the mayor believes that some high tech, like an Elon Musk person, must be hired, and that's not true. Because Sherry Lilienfeld can do it for you. I think you would do it at no charge as well.
I think you should get a Stockton student and pay, or these kids want to, fill their resumes with work. You could say he or she could say they worked for the city of Margate, helping them with their IT. We have Stockton students here.
Do you think there is some possibility that they just don't want you to see everything that's being discussed and voted on? Kind of, sort of.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
It sounds good. We don't have an IT person. Lana's going to get to the bottom of it. I have no doubt.
So don't forget, guys, go to DownbeachBUZZ.com. Get on our email newsletter. Just pop it in right here, Down Beach newsletter. All right. Put your email in here. Over here to the left, you can do a search for all the stories we've written over the many, many years, like 7 or 8 years of just tracking the Down Beach area. You can see beautiful ads of Paul and with Sherry and the story of relocating the tenants. This one's really good. This is the stuff that we couldn't believe we found it, but we have all the PDF, all the filed legal documents in regards to the Margate Gardens complex where they might have to force their way in to count and to see if the wiring, the plumbing was done properly. And that's why tonight at 5 o'clock, City Hall, Margate's asking you to come on out, public comment, talk about the gas station, or talk about enforcement of local law when it comes to planning and zoning and construction officials and what's going on with Jim Galantino and all that stuff. So thanks, everybody. And don't forget, we're going to take more comments. And Sherry loves taking comments, right, Sher?
Yep, love it.
Okay, here, Ralph DeCibio. Cuz you attend the meeting and then head over to Johnny's or Tomatoes after the meeting. Easy pickings. What do you mean by that? I mean,
I think it's time to wrap this up right now. Easy pickings.
What's that mean? That people,
use your imagination. Okay.
A lot of cousins, Skinny Joey might be listening with little snuff. I don't know, but we do know that we have Mitch Tannenhill and we have.
I'm going to text Mitch right now. Come on, I gotta go. I gotta arrange my carpool for the meeting tonight.
Say goodbye to Roz from Jamaican Me Crazy.
Bye, Roz. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. All right, we love you, Roz. We like to make fun of you sometimes because we love you. We tease because we love Sherry Lilienfeld of VXP and the DownbeachBUZZ.com. All right. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Please follow us everywhere. We're actually on X as well, Twitter. Go to Twitter and X. They don't filter us so much. They don't censor us. So we encourage you to follow Down Beach Buzz. Get on our email newsletter and also on X, the Twitter feed. Can you do that for us? Thank you.
Okay.